This was a rigged, disgraceful trial. The real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people.
Welcome back to Financial Independence 101. This is Mike. Today I want to talk to you about this most recent Trump verdict in this last trial and how he was found guilty of 34 counts. This has nothing to do with Donald Trump. Like, I know a lot of people are hyped up on some Trump hating. This has nothing to do with Donald Trump. What this has to do with is Democrats robbing American citizens of their ability to choose who they want in this next election in November. That's all it is. And they failed. Now, I haven't seen the country this divided ever. It is insane. So many people that are cheering the destruction and dismantling of our judicial system with this craziness that's going on. You got the other side of the aisle just understanding that Democrats are setting precedents to take away American citizens' freedoms. But guess what? Democrats failed, and that is a good thing for our country. Not only did they fail at keeping Trump off the ballot and robbing American citizens of their right to pick who they want, they didn't take him off the ballot because they can't. Even John Karl, the ABC World News Tonight resident Trump hater, which he's written 3 books on hating Trump. So, I mean, that's facts out there. Even he agrees that Trump could see a bump in the polls, a boost in the polls. In fact, he didn't want to out and out say it, but I got a little clip in there. But even John Karl knows that Trump's going to be unstoppable because of this. It's insane. I couldn't make this stuff up, but we'll talk about this. We're going to discuss this. We're going to get into the sentencing and how the sentencing itself is, it could give him another boost also. But we'll talk about this and more coming up. When it comes to World News Tonight on ABC, they always have 3 segments. Well, now this 30 segments is strange, but they always talk about climate change and global warming. That's always a segment of theirs, right? And I'm not denying global warming. As I sit here and enjoy a 69-degree day on the 2nd of June, I'm not denying global warming. I'm also not denying that we had an ice age that humans had nothing to do with. So, yeah, it is what it is. The solution is not financially devastating the average American citizen through extremely high energy prices, electricity prices, natural gas prices, and especially, well, gas prices at the pump. That is not the solution at all, but of course that's what's offered up. The other segment that I see on World News Tonight now this is, I say, relatively new. It's in the past year. Almost every night there's some sort of a airplane tragedy or something wrong with flying. And I would almost just go, wow, that's just a lot of coincidence. But they re-air the same story from 3 days ago or 8 days ago or whatever. If there's nothing new going on, they just re-air old stories with no new news over and over and over so they can fill this gap. They've got to have some discussion of something with airplanes every night. I don't know what that's about. Do they want to just end air travel? I don't get it. I don't know. Yes, they pointed out real problems, but there's not as many problems as they like to point out. So why is it a nightly discussion? I don't know. But we get into the next nightly discussion. It's the good old-fashioned Trump bashing. Every night they have something to say about Donald Trump, and they always use negative descriptive terms. Now, I want to point out, John Karl, he wrote 3 books, and let's get that picture here of 3 books about Donald Trump. And see, Betrayal, Front Row at the Trump Show, Tired of Winning. So those are his books. I mean, obviously, those are not positive books. They're not meant to build up and be uplifting about Donald Trump at all. But hey, the guy made some money doing some stuff, so I mean, I really can't bash him for that. But I did point out how it's a conflict of interest to have him on there as the person that's always covering the Trump news. And so they kind of replaced him with Aaron Katursky. Now, Aaron Katursky's going out of his way to look very unbiased, and he's done a good job of that, actually. And I listen, and he doesn't use the negative descriptive terms when he talks about Donald Trump. So it's really interesting. Once I pointed out that John Karl, having him on there is a conflict of interest, or at minimum, it's hypocritical, they put this guy on here. Now, I know it had nothing to do with me. It's all just coincidence and timing, but that's what's going on. Now, getting into what John Karl actually had to say about this whole thing. And he's right. I mean, John Karl's right. Trump could see a huge boost in the polls. And it's basically because he saw it in the past with every other one of these fake, trumped up charges in the courts, and how we've seen the Democrats weaponize the court system and the judicial system against their political opponent. And yet, John Karl's right. He's going to get a boost in the polls. Let's let John Karl say it, and then we'll be back.
It's important to remember Trump he was indicted on 4 different venues, 2 federal, 1 state, now this one in New York. And each of those indictments actually only helped his campaign. He actually only improved after being indicted. So we'll see what happens now that an indictment has led to a conviction.
John Karl with us as well. John, thank you.
All right, now I want to really drill home the importance of this, the importance of this upcoming election. And since I'm a finance channel, that's what matters the most, is the financial aspect of these things. So the Trump era tax cuts are ending. And as you can see, this is all the stuff. The lie that Democrats have given you, the narrative that the Trump tax cuts only help the wealthy, is a direct fallacy. It's a direct lie, not based on numbers. It's just they assume most American citizens won't look any deeper than the news and hearing what they hear on the news, which is an absolute lie. So here is a chart. Again, previous tax brackets prior to 2018, what they were. And as you can see, all the way across the board, they are higher. On the right is Trump era expiring tax rates that expire. And in 2025, all of them are going to go up. In 2025, you're going to see much higher taxes. And this is a big deal. This is a really big deal. It's about 4%, but also there's going to be, they anticipate a massive stock market collapse, and they anticipate people getting out of the stock market. But what they're going to do is charge you 45% on your long-term capital gains when you're expected to pay 15%. There's a whole lot more going on with this tax situation that won't go on if Trump's in there. Now we got inflation, just record inflation. It's insane. And now I got to say this, the rampant spending that's been going on by the Democrats has been halted mostly because we've seen gridlock in Washington, but also this is an election year and they're just kind of holding back on their agenda just until November, and then they can get back to business as usual. But that's why you don't see a massive double spike in inflation, but we could definitely see that in 2025. Also, the fact that the economy is terrible and most Americans are struggling to get by. So that's also a negative on prices. It's a negative pressure downward on prices because of the fact that the economy is just so bad. But I've got a whole video about the rollbacks at Walmart and stuff I'm planning to do. If you think that energy prices are high now, this is the tippity tip of the iceberg of these crazy radical policies Democrats want to put into place. I mean, I'm not making any of this up. These are facts. Radical policies that are going to shoot energy prices through the roof. They've already succeeded to a mild level, but they're not high enough yet. They're not high enough yet. Democrats want energy prices to be completely and absolutely unaffordable to the average American citizen. They're not going to be happy. They're not going to rest. They're not going to stop. And it actually has nothing to do with the environment at all. A 1/400,000th of a percentage of an improvement over the next 100 years if we all convert to Amish. Just face the facts. They're doing this to financially cripple American citizens. It's not helping the environment. They still have this ridiculous plan to either decrease emissions, pollution by 90%. I mean, where do you come up with this kind of number? How is it even possible? They don't even know how to do it. They're just saying do it or shut down. They have no idea how to accomplish a goal. How do you put a goal out with no possibility of achieving it? Or shut down. Shut down 32% of electrical production in the US while you're trying to increase electrical usage through electric cars, EVs, by 57%? None of this makes any sense. We're not even going to get into the completely unprotected borders and the way Democrats, they're just letting everybody illegally enter our country. Again, I've said it in past videos, I'm not against immigration. I worked in restaurants. I worked with people that ended up being undocumented workers, and they were great workers. And I hated to see them get deported. I'm gonna be honest with that. I wouldn't be on this land if it wasn't for my grandmother immigrating over here. My wife the same way. Her grandmother immigrated over here also. So both of us are product of immigration. But it was done legally over the course of 6 months to a year to become legal citizens. Not just walking across and then being handed all kinds of stuff. Getting free place to live and all kinds of stuff. My grandmother didn't get that. She worked hard. It's an insult. It's a slap in the face to every single immigrant that has come over here legally. What the Biden administration is doing is just, it's disgusting. I'm disgusted. And if you came over here legally, or your family came over here legally, and you did it the right way, you should be disgusted too. And it's odd that the same administration, the Biden administration, they come up with all these fake, trumped up charges. Just trivial, minor little trumped up charges to go after Donald Trump so they can rob American citizens of their ability to vote for the person they want, which they failed. Thank God they failed. But yet, there's no accountability for real crime in this country. Like real crime. Just smash and grabs, and Walmart doesn't even want to have a Walmart in Chicago. And this is Chicago, San Francisco, you name it. All of these cities where there's no crime enforcement. I mean, it's terrible. It really is. It's terrible. Let's get into sentencing and wrap this up. Now, Leisha Miller is one of the liberal YouTubers that I do watch. She is a lawyer, according to herself. And I gotta say that I watch her because she does point out the hypocrisy of Democrats. As a liberal herself, she's honest. She points out the hypocrisy of Democrats. Now, doesn't really care for Trump much. So it makes it for quite an entertaining, funny watch on hers. But I do want to point out that I have been watching over 100 of her videos, it feels like. Maybe it's not quite that many, but it feels like that many. I still haven't found one reason to vote for liberals coming from her. I haven't gotten from her even one reason to vote for liberals. I've just gotten kind of a little bit of anti-Trumpness from her. But I think she's pretty cool. I watch her. Fast facts. Can he run for president? Yes. Can he vote? Yes. Can he pardon himself? No. Can he get presidential briefings? Meaning, does he still have security clearance? Yes, he has security clearance. But specifically, I wanted to hear her thoughts on sentencing. And so this is her thoughts on sentencing, that he probably won't go to jail, maybe home confinement or probation. And then she did discuss the ability to appeal sentencing. And obviously, there's going to be an appeal. But appeal is based on judge bias. The judge makes a bad call, or prejudicial testimony. And here's the thing. If the judge, he can do as little as probation, as much as 4 years jail time. But if the judge puts out 4 years jail time on this, what they are saying is a really low-level felony, which technically 6 months ago would have been tried as a misdemeanor. But they're saying if he does lay that down, then it will easily be appealed. But the good thing is, we got good old Mike Johnson. He's going to be going up there to the Supreme Court to completely overturn this ruling anyway. Now, I do want to point out, I would like to see Peter Schiff run for president, because he would fix our problems. The thing is nobody would vote. Well, not nobody. Not enough people would vote for Peter Schiff, because he would cut the government in half, and he would cut the spending in half. And people would have to all work hard, stand on their own 2 feet. We would go back on the gold standard. It would be some hard times in America, but we'd be stronger on the other end of it. It's what needs to happen. He has the medicine for our sick country, but he's already tried to run and he couldn't get any headway, because nobody's going to get elected doing everything correctly, doing exactly what America needs. But Donald Trump does emulate a lot of the policies that Peter Schiff would put in. So to wrap it up, the Democrats have been on this witch hunt trying to take out Donald Trump and to keep him off the ballot, to rob American citizens of their ability to vote for who they want. And they failed, but they didn't just fail. They've probably solidified the win for Trump. They have made him stronger than ever. But anyway, let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Like, subscribe. Financial Independence out.